Oh, good morning, everyone. I've got a chair in there. How are you all this morning? At least it's not windy here this morning. We've had terribly cold days with wind, and I know there's been snow up in the mountains and in the highlands. So, um, yeah, it's quite pleasant outside this morning. Um, very blue sky this morning. So today is the 10th of June. We had a holiday yesterday, the King's birthday holiday. Um, some of my students were asking when was the Queen's birthday then, if it was the King's birthday, and how come they were both around the same time. So I had to do a little bit of explaining last week as to what that was. So today I'm going to introduce you to someone. Honey, come here, come here, come here. This young lady, oh, this young lady arrived last week. This is Honey, and yeah, very spoiled, very spoiled. But isn't she gorgeous? Yeah. She just loves to be held, loves to be cuddled, and is never happier than when she can sit beside us. When I'm crafting, she was bothering me the first few days, and she would come and wind up on my knee while I was crafting, which is pretty impossible to craft. So I ended up bringing her net, her bed. Tongue-tied this morning, her bed into the room where I craft, and she sits and sleeps in that while I'm crafting. This morning I'm going to show you a beautiful set that's in the new annual catalogue called Kintsugi Imperfections. The set itself is called Inspiring Imperfections, and honestly, it is beautiful. If you don't know what Kintsugi is, basically it's been around since the 14th century or the 15th century, 1400s in Japan. And it's a technique of repairing broken pottery. And what they do is they mend it with gold lacquer, and they put golden veins down it. And the whole idea of it is that it's a celebration of things that were broken or imperfect, and they become more valuable. So you've got some examples here of this is like what they would do. They'd put gold veins and put the thing together again. Nowadays, I believe that there's a whole industry in this where you can get some pottery, break it up, and redo it yourself. So it's quite an interesting thing. And what struck me about it was that no matter what events and what imperfections you have in your life, and we might find ourselves useless, we're not useless. So, but look at this lovely DSP. Isn't that gorgeous? I love this. I love this one. Um, it's just, and you could use it, it's multi-directional. See, you could use it in any direction. That's one of them. The other side is just a plain one. Then we've got these here, and we've got dies that cut all of this out, the flowers, and the vases and the cups. Again, it's got the gold on it. And we've got this one, which is beautiful too. And on the other side, you can see how they have used different pieces of pottery to go together and to make a pattern. And this one, we have made part of a vase. I got a piece of gold cardstock stuck in the middle, which is very useful to have. And then there's, oh, I didn't show you the other side of that. It's that one, and that one, it was that one, yep. This one is Misty Moonlight, and then peachy color on the other side. And then you've got white with the gold veins and sort of like a swirly pattern on the other side. But aren't they beautiful? Now, I was fascinated by the when this was presented at on stage. I love the idea that something can become more valuable after being broken, because I know we've all been there, and sometimes we think we can't rise above it. So I want to show you some cards today. I'm afraid they're not my own inspiration today, but it's always a good way to start when you've got something that you're going to work with. And my first card today, I love this card. It's by D. Slater, Create with D, D-double-E. Isn't it beautiful? So it uses the DSP, some gold foil, the textured, let me get these out. So this is the stamp set, and the textured notes, which is this here. Oops, got a little thing on it. And the DSP there. And these are the dies that go with it. So you could use, you can see these here, these actually can be cut out in gold. I'll show you how I use those later on. Okay, so my first card today is this one. And though it looks complicated, it's not as complicated as it looks. It's just a basic card. Oh, and here's some of the ones that are cut out just to show you that you can die cut them out. Put them up there. Let's get this card together. Okay, so we've got a Misty Moonlight base, and I've cut about 2.5, 3 centimeters off. So it's like that. And then what I'm going to do is, got lots of little bits here. Okay, so I've got my gold. Now I could cut a piece out of the middle of this, but for today I'm not going to worry about that. And what I usually do is I would cut this out from the center, and then you've got that for the tag as well. So I'm not going to worry about that this morning, just for speed of that's for my inside. So I've got my DSP here. Pardon me, I'm turning it over, and I'll get my tape out. Now you will know that in Stampin' Up we've got different kinds of gold foil. Some look better than others with this. This is a fairly plain one. But, okay, so that's that. And that is actually going to just fit on the front of the card. So let's place that in its position. So it sits with the Knight and Navy border around it. Okay. Now I've got this is going to be my inside. And what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to put this gold strip down the outside. So I'm going to put it right on the edge. Off again. Put it on again because it went on crooked. Let's try this way. That's much better. So it's sitting like that. And then I've got a strip of this. I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to put it on the inside, on top of the gold. As I say, really simple, but a very, very beautiful card. Here we go. And then I'm going to place this in the inside of the card. Like, oops, daisy. That's about right. Yep. Now it looks like that. So when you close it up, you just get a little bit of the strip. Now, this is going to go on top along with this. And all I'm going to do with this before I put it on there is I say very, very simple. D. Slater does wonderfully, beautiful cards. Putting it in the middle of the template like that. And I will put that on with dimensionals, and I'm going to put it on the card about there. So I'm going to put some glue on the left hand side of this so that it sits like that. And I've left a little bit of space purposely. Now I stamped the flower from the stamp set in Misty Moonlight, and I shall get my dimensionals, and I'll put a couple, maybe I might put more than two on the back of this. One there, put one there. Okay, so that's over there, and this is going to go on the front, on the front, like that. Okay, so that's basically the card. Now I've got some, these come with it as well. These are flower accents, and they're little gold in like a flower shape. So I'm going to put one large one and two small ones on the bottom. Bring this up. So I'll put the big one first. And I've got just two up. I might put this in this way around, only because it sometimes sticks to the gems, and I don't want that to happen. Here I've got a small one, so put it there. So just slipped it over a little bit there, and one more. There we go. And that's our first card. Isn't that gorgeous? And just peel this off and push those back in. You inspire me. What a beautiful card. My second card today is was inspired by Katie Drew. Now I hadn't looked up Katie Drew before, but and excuse me, I'll be drinking as well. Katie Drew is an English Stampin' Up demonstrator, and I actually love what she does. This is one of her cards, just doing it slightly differently to the other one. You can see it's quite a contrast. So we've got, let me get the package. We've got a basic white base, and it's easiest if you do this all first. And I'll show you those in a minute. They're lovely. So I've got my basic white base. I have used the embossing folder, which is here somewhere, and it's a bit hard to see, but it's got it's like all broken pieces put together. And you can see that it's got flowers, different things that just put together. And what I've done is I've done it on Balmy Blue, and then I've used Azure Afternoon. These are some of my favorite colors. Pardon me. To use some splotches from the textured, what is it called? Oh gosh, my brain this morning is a bit lively. Elements of text. So you've got these spotty things, and I've just stamped those around and stamped some off. And that's going to go on the front of my card. So let's do that first. Okay. So I'll turn it over. You can probably see on that side the variegation on that the embossing folder gives you. Now, place that on the card. I'm actually going to put my sentiment. I don't normally put my sentiment on first, but I think I'm going to put it on down here. The bottom. Actually, no, I won't. I'll leave it to the end. Got a piece of white cardstock here, and I've cut a piece out in the textured notes. it's going to go on top of it. So let's do that. Okay. Explain this as we go on. Okay, now that is going to go on dimensionals on the card. And I can actually add that right now. So, pull that off. Funny how they want to stick to your hand in the morning, any time of day actually. So that's just a plain of misty moonlight with that. Okay, I'm going to set it about there. Now I will put my sentiment on. I've got my sentiment here. I'm here from you, here for you, which is from this stamp set right here. So I'm just going to put some tape along the back of it. And I'm going to put it across the bottom. Right. Okay. Now, I stamped one of the vases from the set in, I actually used Night of Navy for this because I wanted to stand out. And I used Misty Moonlight for this one. This is on cloud cover, this is on basic white. So I'm going to put this on first. I'll put my cup on first. And I'm just going to glue it straight on. I could use any kind of glue I wanted to on this. Just my multi-purpose glue. So I shall put it about there. Okay. And then I've got my vase and I've put a few dimensionals on the back already, just to speed things up today. And it's going to be raised up like that. Okay. Now, you know I told you about cutting these little veins here out. You can cut these out. They're in the stamp set, and you could use gold embossing on those. But I've cut them out in cloud cover, like she did. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this to the card. Now, probably the easiest way to do this would be to add them, to put a bit of tape on the back of it, because it's very, very narrow. But I am going to use, oops, get it turned over. I'm just going to use my fine glue. I'm just going to put a little bit along this. So it ends up looking more like a branch than a vein today. And this works really, really, really well. There we go. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to line this up with this side. So I want to bring it down so it sneaks in behind the vase. Okay, see what I've done there? So it looks like, almost like a, well, it's like a branch coming out. And I've got the other one. The other one is smaller, doesn't want to be picked up. You can see it's a little smaller, and I'm going to put it on this side like that. Okay, so again, I'm going to turn it over and put a little bit of glue on the back. I thought today was my granddaughter's birthday for some reason. And her mum reminded me it's actually tomorrow, but I think it's because Emily is so excited about her birthday. She's been telling me about it for weeks. Was actually giving me hints of what I could buy her last week. She's turned 12 today, and I love her. Tomorrow, 11th of June. 11th of June. There we go. So that one's on as well. Then I got, and I cut out, let me get them, a little, where are those dies gone? They're around somewhere. The dies from the stamp set have like little flowers on them. I can't put my hand on it at the moment, but that's okay. These here, and I cut them out in white, like this, and then I used a blending brush to add a little bit of Azure Afternoon to them. So what I'm going to do is just put these on the card so that they look like flowers on a branch. So let's turn this over. I don't need very much glue in these. Just going to put the odd dot on it where there's lots of space. It really doesn't need to be solidly done. Okay. Turn it over. And I'm going to lay it along. Actually, yeah, I'll do it this way. Just hold it down for a minute or two. Probably could have put it out a bit further, but that's okay. And then I've got 3 of these little small ones. I thought I had 4, but I've only got 3 here. So I'll leave that like that. And yeah, these are going to go on. I might put one here on both of these. So let's do that. Bit of glue around the biggest flower here. And I'm going to change the direction that I have. I'm going to put it like that. See, just like that. Doesn't want to stick. Well, in a minute. And I'm going to get the other one. I'm going to put some glue on it as well. Now, this is a great card if you sort it all out first. And then you just have to put it together. It can go on up there. And I'm going to put this one down here because, you know, I've got those 2 branches. So I thought I had a 3rd one, but it doesn't matter. I'll just use these 2. And I'm going to put it just here. Okay, now, in one of the pre-orders that we have, because we're going to be doing a virtual card day very soon, they have these beautiful hues of blue flowers. Aren't they gorgeous? So you've got different hues. Let me pull them out so you can see them. I think this is something I will use a lot of. So when it comes available, definitely buy it. Can you see how they go from white right through to dark navy? Aren't they gorgeous? And there's big ones and small ones. And I'm going to get some in my card. And the last one I put on this color, I'm thinking for this one, I might even put a white one up here because that will show up really well. And a white one up here, and maybe one more white one. And you can put it. Where should I put it? Actually, do you know what? I think I might put another maybe one here. Put it there. It's got my 3. Sometimes you need to just push them down a little bit so that they stick. Isn't that pretty? Look, I encourage you to look her up because She has some really, really pretty ideas to use this set. I'll put that in afterwards. Okay, so this is card number 2. Card number 1. Card number 2. Card number 3 is completely different again. This is by, did I say that was by Kelly Drew? This one's by Wendy Waltman, I believe. No, yeah. I can't remember. This one's, I think this one's Kelly Drew and this one's Wendy Waltman. But this is Kelly Drew. I've got the two mixed up. And basically all I've done is get this out. I've got my Misty Moonlight background. I've got a piece of white cardstock on which I've stamped in Misty Moonlight the flower and the tiny flower that's up here on the corner. This one. Just stamp that on the card. And I'm going to layer that on the front. Simple as that. Stick it on the card. Don't know if anybody's watching with me this morning, but if you are, welcome. I'm used to talking to myself in the morning, so this is going to go on, and I've put "You Inspire Me" on it. So let's turn that over. I'm going to turn it and put it on the middle. So it doesn't matter if you didn't put any flowers on the middle. That's going to go there. Then I've got a couple pieces of Misty Moonlight on which I have stamped on with Night of Navy, just so it sticks out a little bit. Okay, now these are going to go on with dimensionals. So let's turn them over. And I'll add some dimensionals to the back. And then this morning I've got my coffee and cards up at Pennant Hills. Not sure, a couple of people have said they're going to come if they're not sick, they've been feeling unwell, which is very common around here at the moment. So I've got some dimensionals in the back of that. So I'm hoping they can come, but you know, I'm going up anyway, and if anybody wants to join me, that's fine. I will create, and what I'm doing today you will see next week, because I'm going to use washi tape next week. Okay, so let's put that one there. Might move it in a little bit more, so it's not quite at the edge. It just fits in under the "You Inspire Me." And then I've got my cup, and I can put this on next. Rid of the backings, and it can sit. Well, I might set it up a little bit like that. Okay. Now you remember how I said you can die cut these out in gold? Look at that. Isn't that pretty? And what my plan is to stick this underneath. So I'm going to get some glue. So you can see I've used the veins from the gold for a slightly different purpose on this, and then I'll show you another one that I've made in a minute. Set that there. And I'm going to put it on the card. So tuck it in. And pop it on. So it just looks like, it could look like a branch, or it could look like a crack in it. And this is just going to go on the inside. Now, if I was being very clever this morning, I could even stamp a flower in the inside of it, which I probably will. Oh, maybe just the flower. I think that's what I did on this one. Can you see what I did? Just did that on the inside. So I think I might want to add some gold on this one. I think the gold would be really, really nice on this one. I haven't added any dimension or embellishments to the other one, but I think actually one there. I think that actually adds to it a little bit. Isn't that beautiful? I loved this set when I saw it. It wasn't the first one I wanted to buy, but it was very, I don't know if it was available at on pre-order, but yeah, I don't think it was. So that I think that's probably why I didn't buy it. Let me show you, pardon me, another card that I made here. I used the postage dies. They call them perennial postage die. Pardon me for this one. And this one was sort of one I created myself. And I'll run you through what I've done on it. So basically I've got my cloud color as my back, a white layer, and a misty moonlight layer. And what I've done is I've run it through the embossing folder, which is right here, yeah, which I think I couldn't find earlier. There it is. I've run it through that. I sort of sanded it off a little bit, and added a little bit of white to it, but yeah. And I put some veins on it with a Versamark pen and gold. I had to do a couple of applications just to get it really a bit more shiny. And then I placed, so it's like the back is broken, the vases in front. And these are two of the vases that I cut out. Remember I showed you earlier. Yep. Those two, and you can see that you could do it that way if you wanted to, like that, for another card. I stamped the flower, and no, I can't remember. I must have stamped it in two bits, and then I put it in the vase, and I cut the You Inspire Me out and just placed it on. One behind, I've got this gold, broad gold band, and I cut it in strips and added it behind, so you can see that they're all like little strips of the one piece. So the piece is about that long, and then I just cut it into strips and put it behind the card. I like that one too. It's just a little bit different. So those are 4 cards I made with Kintsugi this week, or Inspiring Imperfections. And the sentiments are beautiful. You've got You Inspire Me. I know you'll get through this and be stronger for it. Thanks for helping me through this difficult time. There is beauty in your history. I'm here for you. And they're beautiful sentiments. So if someone's going through a tough time, that would be a lovely card to send them. And every time I look at them, I'm reminded of it doesn't matter what you've done or who you are or whatever. We often throw ourselves in the useless basket and think we're no good anymore. But, you know, we can pick ourselves up with the help of God, and we can become anew. And I just think that that's a wonderful thing. And we can step out from the hard times that we've had and move into moving forward and learning from them, and actually maybe being able to help others who have gone through similar things. Now, I can see that my husband is falling asleep at the controls this morning, so I will say goodbye to you from here. And I hope you've enjoyed looking at these cards this morning. As I said, next week I'm going to use washi tape. And, you know, I think of washi tape to put on just little strips and things, but I'm going to show you a clever way to use it next week that I am actually using in my coffee and craft this morning. And I'm hoping to be able to demonstrate how I use that as well next week. So until next week, I hope that you all keep well in this winter weather. I mean, today is lovely compared to what it's been like. When I went, I had to do a quick run up to Castle Hill yesterday, and when I was up there, I've never seen so many people buying doonas and fleecy blankets and woolen blankets, and um, they were doing an absolute roaring trade in those yesterday. And electric blankets or warmers. That seemed to be the big things that people were buying yesterday. So obviously everybody's feeling the cold. But it's been lovely to meet with you today, and I hope you've enjoyed looking at Inspiring Imperfections. It's a big mouthful, isn't it? Inspiring Imperfections, known as Kintsugi. So look it up. It's quite an interesting thing that they've done. So yeah, and yeah, we can learn a lot from it. Okay, take care, everyone, and I will see you next time.